A quick hour check, 18,207, my G. All right, we got Ropz locked in for the SSD setup. You pulled up to the tournament, the backpack's out. What's step one? What do you start with?
Plug everything in. Well, I don't have my gear here, but normally I would line everything up with the monitor here. You have like custom inscriptions here on the monitor, which you can use to tilt the monitor to the perfect angle, and then always remember how you have it at home at every setup.
Because I mean, we all know from watching you play, you tend to be quite close to the monitor. How do you kind of measure how close the monitor needs to be on the desk?
It kind of changes for me time to time, but I do get a rough measurement with basically my hands. When I play at home, I always, before I go to the tournament, that's when like my setup feels, ready. I'm ready for a tournament, and then I take a measurement, for example, with my fingers. So I just go like this on the desk.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then I'll just get a reference of how far the monitor is, and then it will be roughly the same when I get to the tournament.
Okay. Desk and chair height. Like, I mean, they have the fancy desks now at ESL, right?
Yep.
So do you know your magical number, or does that change too?
So the thing about height is it's all very relative to, first of all, what chair you're using.
Right.
There's different chairs. Some are like more deep, so you're more like deeper in the chair.
Yeah.
And that's gonna change your feel to the height of the table. And one thing which I also note down is whether you play with shoes or without shoes, because I'm using shoes which give me like a 3 centimeter boost.
For the contact of the floor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I like to have my feet, good standing, like
planted.
Planted. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be floating in the middle of the air. I've had a few tournaments where like you have a really high chair and like you on the ground with your
like
toes.
tippy toes. No,
that's a bit
no.
annoying for me at least. In terms of the table heights, so I use pretty low height. I like to go around 70 centimeters. Now there's people who use 75, 78, like way higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, that depends, like 70 plus minus 1, 2, depending on the chair.
The shoes, if you've got your high heels on, you've got to, yeah.
Exactly. I use standard and then black equalizer on this monitor. It makes a difference whether it's 0 or 1. It's a very big difference.
Okay.
And then if you go to 2, it's a very small difference. So I like to leave it at 1 to get a bit of it in. And then for color vibrance and like a vibrant screen, I use 14, 0 here, and I use like a darker scheme. I like to use gamma 5. And this is actually beneficial for CS2 because CS2 is very bright. And a lot of players, I think, are messing with these settings, especially there's another command in the game where you can change the gamma.
Oh yeah, full screen gamma.
Yes, exactly. So leave on normal or user define. It's a slightly different color vibe, I think. I mess with this sometimes. And then color weakness off, go to picture. I use Nikon Premium, and I think it's a beneficial thing. It adds some motion clarity.
Yeah,
it's a good thing. Brightness. This is just for my eyes. I go lower, like 50-ish, especially like gaming in dark areas in a dark room. It's just gonna hurt your eyes if it's like maxed out. Contrast, I go down a bit to 35. This is my own setting. Sharpness, I keep it on 5, and this is on high.
Cool.
And that's about it for mine.
Boom.
Usually when you set up, the monitor is running on 60 Hertz because there's been like a lot of SSD changes, or like you have a fresh SSD. So you just put your resolution 1920 to 40 Hertz is what the max is here. Still rocking the 100% digital vibrance.
You are? Damn, so yours is vibrant. With CS2, 14
like
on the monitor, 100 on the NVIDIA.
Yeah. It's like with the skins. The more colorful your skins are, the better you're gonna hit headshots.
Respect.
I like to go on this this slider, and normally this is like quality if you have default settings.
Yeah.
But I used to go like this, just go on performance and apply, and that's what I kind of rock.
Yeah. Just get a couple of extra FPS.
Not sure what exactly. I think it kind of changed how the edges look in the game, like maybe a bit of like anti-aliasing changes.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it on an NVIDIA for me. You got the mouse settings, Windows 11, you click this, and then pointer options, and
yeah, just making sure.
I like to use this off. So with this, you have acceleration on if you put it on, and this is acceleration in Windows. I don't like that. Well, first of all, the new Steam UI, whatever update it is, This is not so good right now. There's a lot of bugs.
Keeps crashing on me as well.
Yeah, I like to disable the in-game thing, the Steam overlay.
Yeah, makes sense, just in case you've accidentally...
It says it's already disabled, but then you have to enable and disable again, because otherwise it's not disabled, and this way it is. So it's just a bug, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, then there's no launch options. I think you just go into the game. I mean, if you want to play some custom workshop maps, I think you need to add the insecure launch option, but that's about it.
18,207, my G. How many of them do you think are AFK hours? 1, 2?
Oh, there's definitely some. I'm using 1920 native res, so video settings on the first screen here, we probably have some previous guys' settings. We're gonna go to widescreen 60:9. Boom. 1920, full screen, use the maximum refresh rate, apply brightness. I don't use the slider, but I do use the commands, R, full screen gamma.
So that's the same, oh, that's to changing that.
This is the slider for brightness. This is the exact same command through the console.
Okay.
And I believe my value was 1.9. Boost player contrast. This is a setting I use in CSGO, but in CS2 I don't think it makes a difference right now. I'm not sure.
Doesn't feel like it,
yeah,
does it?
It seems like it's an issue in the game right now, so I just have it disabled because I know this gives a small FPS boost, what I've looked into. And then we start from here. I use 2x on anti-aliasing, multi-sampling. Global shadow quality, use high. You want to see the shadows, and it's proven that high gives you an advantage.
Okay.
Model texture detail. You can put this on low, but I use medium because there's some textures on some maps that are incredibly scuffed on low, and you get a lot of clarity with medium.
Okay.
And it's not that big of an FPS loss. Texture filtering, you go to 16x. So this is like a thing which can make your skins look nice.
Oh, and that's the one for skins.
And there's barely any difference for FPS. So a lot of people who are good with computers optimizing stuff would say to leave this at 16x because it doesn't really give a decrease in FPS.
Like, yeah, in terms of the cost and the benefit.
Yeah.
Your skins look fancy, doesn't screw your FPS. Okay,
That's
cool.
correct.
I didn't know that.
Shaders, low for me. Particle details, low.
Yeah, what does this, have you like fiddled with particle and like what the Molotovs look like? Because wasn't that the one you changed in Go to like see it through mollies and stuff?
I think that was a shader.
Oh, that was shaders.
I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked too much into it. I just leave these two on low.
Okay.
I think these are which you can put on low, these two. This is medium. This is also to do with shadows. So when a player is, I saw a video on this, if a player is moving against the wall, you cast a shadow on the wall, which is not affected by global shadow quality.
So that's a competitive advantage then?
True.
Okay, cool.
And I would say from my testing, medium is enough. I'm not sure if high gives another advantage. Yeah, this should be quality. I think this is just, if you put it in performance, you just see a lot of grain on your screen.
That's the grain command. Okay.
Exactly, this is the grain. Fidelity FX, disable, highest quality.
Sure.
And then, so I use enabled.
Okay.
I did some research. I was trying out enable plus boost and I read into it. Enable boost, it's gonna eat your FPS at the cost of lower frame times, I believe.
So if you have a really good PC, is it worth it?
Maybe. Like, I haven't tested enough. Okay. I think this is something that's gonna have to be tested vigorously. Like, you need a lot of research if this is worth it. But I just leave it unenabled. I think this is gonna give you a decent performance and advantage. But when we jump into this, I do use natural. Okay. I know a lot of people are using crisp, but I go with natural. And then left-right isolation, I just go on 50, so I press 50 here. And perspective correction, I also use no. Okay. And that's about it for sounds. How come you never come around no more? How come whenever I reach out? Static, I think, yeah. Friendly fire warning, I have off. I think it's a distraction.
It's so distracting.
Follow recoil, I don't use. It's a cool setting, but I don't see worth it. Center dot, no. Length, I use 2. Thickness can be 0. Gap, I use -3. No outline. No, I use alpha and max.
Okay.
Yeah, it's green now, that I see now. T-style, no. A weapon gap, this is no. This changes based what weapon you're holding. Show player crosshairs, I don't use this. I like to see my own crosshair always, so if I spectate someone and I see they're throwing a grenade, which I haven't, thrown in a while, or one which I haven't even seen maybe, then I can actually learn it on the go and on the fly. To remind myself of like lineups, so it helps if you have your own crosshair. is my auto exec. I'm not sure if this is up to date. I may have changed some things. Anyways, this is the crosshair command through console, which we just did through the game settings. The next thing here would be crosshair for grenades. So this is the toggle which will switch between, the crosshair which stretches out your whole screen, up, down, left, right.
How often are you using that in like a match?
Depends on the map. There's a few lineups in CSGO that I had to use this with very specific niche grenades that you had to use this one to, get the lineup right. Because there was sometimes you have nothing to line up with, but with this you can find something.
Yeah.
So then we go into sensitivity at 1.77, rate and HUD commands here. I use FPS max 500, show FPS 0. It's like a bunch of commands that a competitive player would use. View model preset pause 3. Would be for classic, and that's what I use in CS2. This is an interesting command. This is new in CS2. This is the CL silencer mode. Detach silencer on M4 and USB disabled.
I mean, who needs it on?
Yeah.
Who needs it on?
This is a nice new update. Quality of life improvements. Rate, I guess this is interesting. This is the CS2 has a new max, 1 million. CSGO, it was like 7, 6, 8, something like this.
Yeah,
it's like
right.
700K. So I have no idea if this is better, but I'm just using the max.
Yeah,
that's what
not?
you used to do in CSGO. You put the max rate.
Rest in peace.
Got some.
I'm just seeing the D-sub tick ones, yeah.
Got some D-sub tick ones. Well, still using it in a tournament currently in Sydney. Other regular binds, F for inspecting the weapon. This would be my smoke grenade for T. V would be here for my Molotov. Toggle console, just a sensitivity binds.
Is that just in case you've changed it for something?
This is like a thing I had in CSGO. So we had this whole thing with lining up grenades with the console. So like the bind on Dust 2, where you skip pixels on the screen.
With your yaw and your...
Yeah, and then that involves like changing sense. So I would quickly press a button to get back to my own sense. No clip on, I have mouse wheel up for like practicing grenades and stuff. Player ping, mouse 3, I think that's a nice thing.
Oh, are you using player ping?
Yeah, I think a lot of people use it.
Okay.
We have it has useful moments for sure, especially in CSGO and CS2 when you drop grenades. You often forget where they landed or they just keep rolling.
Yeah.
I think in CS2 they don't roll as much.
Why would you be adding a 0.1 to your full screen gamma?
So this is a bug. Basically, this was a bug in CSGO and I think it's still happening in CS2. When you alt-tab, the gamma resets quite often. And then basically what this does is just, when I press this button, it will go back to my own setting.
I see that you've got jump throw binds normal, forward, backward?
Yeah.
Backward? That's like those ones where you kind of like,
exactly.
the fade away basketball.
That's the fun part about jump throws is, okay, so when you think about a jump throw, you throw a grenade and you jump and then it goes further.
Sure.
You can add forward jump throw. It means you do the same thing and you press forward. It's only the forward key that you're pressing. You can press D for right, A for left, S for backwards. You can add shift and add 4 more combinations. So all of those,
and they all affect where the grenade goes.
All of those binds will affect the grenade. And in CSGO, it's almost the same. In CS2, we have some issues with the grenades not landing the same way. But this is a thing. There was a smoke on Anubis that I saw from I think a Crimbo was throwing. This was the first time I saw this backwards jump throw being utilized. This smoke was not possible with any other bind. So if you go back, it goes higher in the air but lands faster. So the trajectory is completely different, basically. Allows you to basically, force the grenades exactly how you want.
Okay, wow. So you're utilizing all of these variations?
So I only have backwards and in addition to forwards right now, and that's about it. But you could, in theory, do like all kinds of things with
right,
shift,
left,
control for crouching, right, left. There's so many options. So it's gonna be weird to see how Valve will deal with this thing, because I don't know if they want to like make jump throw like a thing in the game where you just have a setting in the game for it.
Right.
Because you have to address all of these things.
That's a good point too. Otherwise people would still have to have an exec and still have to have the aliases. Okay.
Yeah, but that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you taking the time to walk us through all of that.
Yep.
Thank you.